Hello. So, I guess today's topic is pretty much on progress and your programming in the gym, or effective programming, or the optimal programming, whatever you want to call it, because a lot of the time people expect, or they think that changing their programs really frequently is somehow the way that it should be, or they say that they're bored of something, or they say they're always getting bored, or they're used to being bored of doing the same things over and over again, or they always get bored of doing the same thing, like anything around the words bored or just wanting change for the sake of change. But the thing is that work for the sake of work is just exercise, it's not training. And when you have, like, okay, so if all you want to do is just exercise for the sake of exercising, cool. But you need to be okay with looking the same year in, year out. Or having someone come up to you like 3 years later saying you look the same. Even though they're probably not going to say that, because that's kind of just mean. But a lot of the time, we all know that guy that he just looks the same, like, year in, year out. Like, when I went to my old gym again after not that long, half the people in there, it's just like, did you have time off? Because you look the same way that you looked like 2 years ago. Like, we all know that guy. Don't be that guy. Because, like I said, work for the sake of work isn't training. It's just exercise. It's just working out for the sake of working out. So, with me, and pretty much most coaches out there that know what they're doing, one of the smallest, the tiniest, the most simplest yet most effective fixes and changes that I can make to someone's programming, to someone's training regime, is that I provide them with a plan. And it's not a 1 week plan. It's not a one freaking fortnight or 1 month plan. It's a plan. And it, instead of attempting to just do stuff in the gym, or burn yourself out, or get the biggest pump, or just play around with everything and anything, or try and pack as much shit as you can into a single day, or just ram yourself into the ground so that you're struggling out afterwards, it monitors the adaptations, it monitors progressions, it monitors how they feel through a workout, it monitors their form if they take form checks. Progress is such a multifaceted thing. Like, programs provide a route from point A to point B. You know where you want to be, you know your goals, and the program, it's supposed to span multiple weeks, depending on your exercise history, depending on your training age, depending on your training history. It spans from anywhere from 6 weeks to 8 weeks to 12 weeks. If you're in one of those one of those peaking phases where you're getting closer to comp and pretty much you're going through 4-week phases, then it goes through 4-week phases. But knowing in advance how your body's going to adapt or maladapt, there's no such thing, because we don't live in vacuums, and so many things can play a role in our programming, which is why most of the time I don't like scheduling deload weeks without feedback. Like, a lot of the time I just go from one training system to another. Like, I would go from higher rep ranges, like 12 to 15, to 8 to 10, and then build them up again. Stuff like that. So, and most of the time, every time I give them, every time it's time for a new training program for them, the first week of that new training program is supposed to be serving as sort of like a deload anyway, because you're feeling your way around the weights, it's getting used to new movements, and it's not putting the same overload on the exercises and trying to progress in those exercises as it was in the prior mesocycle. So I put in deloads when I see that their libido might be low, they're not sleeping well, their appetite's screwed up, they're overly stressed from work, from family, from all that stuff, that's when I put in the deloads. Otherwise, like, especially as beginners, you're not putting enough strain, you're not putting enough, like, crazy amounts of intensity into your workout to warrant a deload every freaking 4 weeks. That's just going to be setting you a week back. It's at the higher levels where you're continually lifting, like, freaking max effort. If you're one of those strength athletes that need it, like, even I don't take deloads every 4 weeks. Most of my programming is pretty much the same week in, week out. Every like 6 weeks I get some exercise changes, but that's about it. And that's how I've been able to progress through my lifts, because I've provided the stimulus to my body. My body's getting its neural adaptations, as in the neurons firing, the CNS system is getting used to it, my muscles are getting used to being recruited in certain firing patterns, and then, and only then, which takes about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, only then is my body able to actually adapt to that movement, get stronger at that movement, and progress in that movement. Like, you need to take advantage of your body's ability to adapt to ever increasing amounts of load over time. Over time, not like within 1 week, 2 weeks. It's week to week and month to month. That's why 6 to 8 to 12 weeks. I remember when I first started out, my programs are pretty much the same for like 16 weeks. Because, well, it was like 2 lots of 16 weeks, and then I started having them programmed at 12 weeks. And then it got cut down a little bit shorter, depending on how my body was adapting. If I was still increasing, if I was still getting better, like, what's the point in changing it? Like, one of my amazing mentors from Muscle Nerds, Luke, he even said himself, like, sometimes he leaves programs the exact same for months and months on end, because his clients' bodies are still adapting. And if the bodies are still adapting, then why would you want to change anything? Because things are still moving along. Their body composition's getting better. They're getting stronger. They're losing, like, when it comes to the diet, if you're still freaking losing fat, why would you want to cut your calories anymore? Like, you can relate it easily to diet. Like, okay, so this is your new diet, and as you go week to week to week, if your body's still changing, if you're feeling better and better every week, if you're still able to perform more, if your energy is getting better, if you're tightening up, if you're feeling better within your skin week to week to week, then why change the diet? Why cut your calories more? Why would you want to live on less when your body is adapting to where it is? The aim of any program is to do as little as you can to get the biggest effect. Always. Why would you want to do so much freaking shit that it takes away from the quality of your life when you can do so much less and still get the same results? That is what I always ask. Why do more when you can do less and still achieve results that you want? Just for that little marginal increase in results? Why? Because health and fitness is supposed to enhance your life. And if you're going to be pouring and, like, trying to tug everything you can out of the vessel, like, it's not leaving enough in there for life, for work, for being an active family member, for being the best person that you can be. Because progress doesn't just come from the gym. I wrote in one of my posts before, progress does not just come from the gym. It comes from living life. Like, numbers in the gym, numbers on the weight bar, reps, sets, the number on the scale, they don't determine your worth. They don't determine anything. They're meant to enhance your life. And as long as you're progressing in the gym, everything you do in there is pushing you to be a better person in the real life. And that's why I'm all about empowering women. Like, that stuff in the gym, if you just keep an eye on it and provide a route from A to B and actually progress and adapt over time, feel things better, move better, live better, have more energy, be able to actually move much more functionally, then you're going to have a better life. You're going to feel better within your own skin. The gym, moving because you love your body, eating because you love your body, and doing all of that work because you love your body and doing it to actually empower you more, is going to make you much better, a much better person outside of the gym. And that's where your worth is determined. Because if it was, like, I can easily say, if it wasn't for eating the way that I do now, and if it wasn't for fueling myself and performing how I do in the gym and feeling confident in everything that I can do, I'm feeling pretty freaking strong. And just pretty much anything that I do in the gym and in, like, nourishing myself with the right foods and not feeling shit because I'm stuffing myself with KFC or Macca's or freaking binging on chocolates. Like, my skin, my everything is just, like, my hair has never been this healthy. Like, all of this stuff has just made me that much more confident in day-to-day life. And that's what life's all about. Like, just feeling empowered within your skin. Being able to not feel so freaking self-conscious. Being able to stand up for yourself. Knowing your values and actually aligning your life to those values. The duration of any plan, of any mesocycle, like I was saying before, either whether it's 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, it depends on one's ability to adapt or maladapt. Because if you're maladapting, something needs to change. You might need a deload. We might need, like, most of the time, there's no, like, I always say there's no real such thing as overtraining. It's under recovery, under resting, or overstressing. That's what I always say. So it's keeping an eye on all those biofeedback markers, which is what I aim to do with my girls. If they, see, I always say, give me 500% and I will give you 500%. So I need that feedback from them to be able to keep an eye on them adapting or maladapting. Like, for example, I have one of the girls that has some hip issue that she told me about that she addressed with a physio or something. So what did we do? We put her on a 3-week modified program so that it allows her hip to recover a little. And her feedback last week after doing 1 week of the just 1 week of the modified program is, my hip feels so much better. So I'm like, okay, we'll do this again for, like, we'll extend this period for 1 more week. So it was initially a 2-week phase, but because she's feeling so much better just after the first week, I would rather do 1 more week at that modified program and allow the hip to heal a bit more and her to feel more confident within the gym and give her more time to kind of get her strength back before we go back to the program that we were on previously. So that type of stuff. So if your body is still responding to the given stimulus and adapting, and there are measures, both qualitative and quantitative, that are improving, there is no need to just change a program for the sake of change, for the sake of being bored. There really isn't. Because feeling the movements and executing them better, becoming better and more efficient at a lift. Because a lot of the time, I leave my lifts the same, but I'm becoming more efficient at them. I'm feeling more confident in them. I'm feeling better at them. Sometimes I'll feel worse at them because it's been it's either been a crappy day, I had a crappy sleep, or other gym sessions have eaten into my recovery for a certain session. Because all your sessions, they're not vacuum sessions. Whatever you do in one session can impact the next session. If you're friggin' draining yourself from session 1 and then you're going into session 2 expecting to perform in your peak after just killing yourself in this session, you're ludicrous, because it doesn't work that way. So you need to realize that there are qualitative measures too, like breathing better, bracing better, correcting your planes of motion and actually moving in those planes of motion. Because if you're not moving in those planes of motions, then you're not emphasizing and working the target muscles. So just by improving all of those measures, you are progressing. And guess what? It's not quantitative, but these qualitative measures add to the quantitative over time. So by getting better at the qualitative, you are getting better at the quantitative. Everything there that I just mentioned, plus there's probably more, they're all measures of progress outside of weight and reps and volume. And they will allow you to progress in many other ways. So I hope that helps. I got a part 2 coming up for this. I don't want to make this longer than 15 minutes. So I hope that helped as a little introduction. And I will see you guys on the other side.